Hey guys, it's your boy Fiscon here, and 3.12.0 is live. And today we'll be going over the update that brings us into Star Citizen 3.12.0. Do note that this is an accumulation of all the previous PTU patches, so if you've been following, it'll sound familiar and it's going to be long. And I'm somehow always late to the game. It's even funnier because I was playing all day yesterday trying to get to the Jerry Ichigo. Oh man, I ruined that. At Mick L1, the irony. And as always, if you want to read these updates for yourself, you can find them in the forums under the updates section, link in the description below. Regarding new features, we are starting off with new locations. CIG implemented Space Station Refinery decks, which are dedicated areas and rest stops that allow players to sell unrefined minerals, drop off mined materials to be refined, and buy or rent new mining equipment and ships. Kiosks have been placed in the refining decks that allow players to take their raw mixed ore from their mining ship and refine it. The player can use these kiosks to create multiple refining jobs which are persistent and complete over a period of time based on quantity and complexity, and create refined ore that is more valuable than when it is unrefined. There are different kinds of refining processes which produce different percentage yields depending on the type of resource being refined. Additionally, different refineries may have different proficiencies. Once one or multiple jobs are completed, the player can collect the refined materials into a ship with cargo capacity and sell at a commodity kiosk, with most goods sellable at major city ports. Now that CIG has a specific location where refining takes place in the verse, most mineable transactions have been moved there. You can still sell unrefined ore at these locations or choose to refine them. Levski will also purchase unrefined materials. Next up is Spacescaping, Stanton Lagrange Point updates. CIG updated all extraplanetary Lagrange Point locations in the PU with improved visuals in their first gas cloud implementation. For gameplay, we have the Reputation T1 system. This system will introduce the first foundational system of reputation added to the game to track a player's relationship with various entities such as important NPCs and organizations. This reputation is now stored in long-term persistence so that it will remain throughout database wipes and character resets. Currently, reputation levels with an NPC or organization are only seen through different dialogue or access to higher paying missions. CIG is working to add functionality to improve player visibility of reputation in a future update. Mission Giver Reputation. All mission givers except Rudo, due to tech requirements for him being a hologram, have been updated to use the new reputation system. Doing missions for a mission giver will cause you to gain and lose reputation with them. They should react appropriately, playing different lines of dialogue based on your performance. If you fail too frequently, they will terminate their relationship with you and refuse to work with you, refusing to give missions for a set amount of time. With Alpha 3.12, no missions have been added specifically for mission givers. However, CIG plans to add new missions in the future now that the reputation framework has been put in place. Bounty and assassination missions. Many of the bounty and assassination mission chains have been updated to use the new reputation system. In doing this restructure, bounty missions were split and to be given by 4 local bounty departments, each with their own reputation, all presided over by a parent bounty hunters guild. As you increase your reputation with the Bounty Hunter Guild and its children, you unlock certification missions. If you can complete the certification missions, you unlock a new tier of higher difficulty, higher payout bounty hunter missions. Keep an eye on your wallet when you complete bounty missions, and you might notice that some organizations will include a little something extra if you have a high reputation with them. This is the first of many perks CIG intends to include. Assassination missions have all of the above, but there is only one organization for them at this time. A one-man operation run by someone named Vong. I don't know how to pronounce it. Vaughn. This name has plagued me since I started the update series. Anyways, weapon zeroing, T0. This system provides the player with a way to change the zeroing on their weapon sights. This allows shots at further distances without having to alter the aim to account for bullet drop. While in ADS, a player can manually or automatically change the zeroing range on their scope. Aiming down sights will show the current zeroing settings, and if your scope supports it, a distance finder at your crosshair. Max distances vary by scope. You can set your weapon zeroing manually or to the distance finder amount by pressing page up, and reset zeroing to 0 meters by pressing page down. Multi-tool tractor beam implementation. Initial implementation of a tractor beam device that attaches onto a multi-tool that allows the player to control an object at a small distance without physical contact. Its primary use is to quickly and remotely move smaller cargo and other physical-based objects in gravity and zero-G. If in zero-G, it can also be used as a grappling hook by tethering to a large object, for example asteroids, space station ships, etc., and pulling the player towards it. This includes a tractor beam UI that displays force and distance gauge as well as indications if the tether is close to breaking. Players can rotate a tether item by holding R and move the mouse cursor. Players can get the new tractor beam attachment and the multi-tool at the new refinery decks or in various shops at the PU. Ship entry identification. This feature adds dynamic AR markers onto a player's display when in close proximity to your vehicle to aid in entry. These contextual changes depend on whether the vehicle is landed or in space to only show valid entry methods. This feature is on by default but has the option to be disabled in the settings. Ship thruster wind volumes. Ship thrusters now create wind volumes when in use that will interact and blow away physics-based objects, ships, and players. Ships and vehicles. We have the new Aspheria Talon and the Aspheria Talon Shrike. Weapons and items. We have the new FPS weapon Gemini A03 sniper rifle, a versatile semi-automatic sniper rifle with the ability to fire quickly at the cost of accuracy. This weapon has an integrated scope and attachment points on the barrel and underbarrel. Players can currently buy this in-game at Scutters and Grimhacks. The second new weapon we have is the Beirang FS9 LMG. Beirang designed the FS9 to be an overwhelming battlefield force. This light machine gun features a full auto mode that makes it ideal for laying down covering fire or holding back advancing enemies. The FS9 is also acclaimed for its ability to maintain accurate fire while unleashing sustained fire. Regarding feature updates, we're going to start off with locations again. Stanton System planetary improvements, which include further improvements to planetary detail and assets, including a detailed global painting pass with consideration to global climate data and improved cloud layer visuals. CIG is also refining how object presets are set up to get a more natural and believable read, as well as introducing some new assets to the biome pack. Updating the remaining geology assets to the organic shader to utilize their latest feature. Also reintroducing the acidic biome for Hurston and Ariel with Planetech V4. Reintroducing the glossy/icy surfaces on Yella and Lyria. CIG is looking to showcase the above improvements for this release on the planets Hurston, Microtech, as well as the moons Selen, Daymar, Walla, Yella, and Lyria. Regarding elevator panel updates, CIG has replaced the existing utilitarian elevator panel buttons with interactive screens. CIG conducted a restricted area rework regarding Area 18 in Lorville, removal of landing splines at Area 18 Spaceport and Lorville Spaceport, and updating restricted flight areas around the spaceports. Added platinum bays on Moon 6 Clio. And next up we have some gameplay modifications. CIG changed the mining UI refractor. More details include that this update adds a brand new user interface for all mining capable vehicles, which will provide the player with a clearer overview of what they are currently experiencing, including mining consumables, what you have equipped, their current state, and their duration. Cargo. Your cargo pods now show their contents and update in real time as you extract materials from mineable deposits. Volatile cargo. The health and estimated time that this cargo will last in your cargo pods before collapsing, and volatile cargo itself is highlighted in the UI so that you can't miss it when you collect it. Flight UI. The current flight and gimbal settings your ship has active are visible at all times. This new interface is built entirely using the building block system, which will allow for quicker development and iteration and testing of new features for the mining system. We have a rebalance pass on minables, mining lasers, and mining consumables. Balance changes to the aspect of mining due to the introduction of the new refinery system. These changes will increase the potential for finding valuable materials and make mining more profitable at the lower ends while providing more high-end multiplayer opportunities for multi-crew mining ships or the combined power of multiple smaller mining ships. CIG has mentioned that this is an ongoing balancing process that will continue to be tweaked and adjusted. Minables across the entire game have been tweaked to provide a higher maximum percentage of all materials held within them. Some minables now have valuable materials in them where they previously didn't. Some lower end value materials now reduce resistance of the mineable, meaning that finding some present in a large valuable deposit could actually be a benefit rather than a hindrance. Resistance and instability curve scaling has been eased slightly to prevent huge spikes in difficulty in lower end minables. Mining lasers have been overhauled to bring them in line with the new minables, but also balance them out and make them all more viable choices. These include wide sweeping changes to power outputs, instability, resistance, shatter, charge rates, optimal charge window, and overall overcharge rates. The amount of consumable slots has also been increased for most mining lasers. With the rework to both minables and mining lasers in mind, consumables needed to be looked at too, to prevent them from breaking the entire system. Consumables have all been rebalanced and include wide sweeping changes to change the duration, instability, charge rates, power level changes, optimal charge window, and resistance. All consumables will now have 5 charges. Regarding wheeled vehicle and aiming improvements, CIG has improved wheeled vehicle and aiming gameplay surrounding the Grey Cat Rock and other ground vehicles, reworked control scheme for wheeled vehicles to include V-joy controls and getting the wheeled vehicle and ship controls closer together. If desired, players can go back to the previous behavior by enabling free look, press C for those that don't know, or for a more constant solution, remove the mouse binding from vehicles turn left/right. The Grey Cat Rock mining arm will now follow the V-joy indication in manual gimbal mode. You can press G to swap this. Added the ability to disable the auto brake state of vehicles, which would always activate if no forward/backward input above 10% were added. Press V to turn off auto braking. Added ability to freeze the aim vector in manual gimbal mode in the Grey Cat Rock and all other driver pilot control gimbals. Added more inversion settings for wheeled vehicle controls. Allowed non-explicit free look while look ahead is on. Added custom look ahead options for MGVs. Added separation of free look gimbal aiming in wheeled vehicles versus space vehicles. The Grey Cat Rock mining arm will now recenter before it is retracted and will no longer be completely offset after getting in and out of the vehicle. Next up we have countermeasures. With these improvements to countermeasure gameplay, the amount of deployed countermeasures will play more of an important role in the chance of spoofing missiles. Single countermeasures will be less effective, but players will have the ability to choose how many should be fired with each burst. Different missiles will have varying degrees of countermeasure resilience. Flares have been renamed to lures and now have different modes to control how multiple launches work, including launch burst by tapping H for default, or set and launch burst to send out multiple by holding H instead of tapping it. Default lure burst size is 3 and can increase burst size by tapping the right Alt H combo or decrease the burst size by tapping the left Alt H combo. Countermeasures have also had a sound effect rework. Torpedo attack, counterbalance, and behavior changes. A rebalance of size 9 torpedoes. They are now much deadlier, with only a few direct hits required to bring down larger ships. This extra damage comes at the cost of speed though. Ooh, my favorite, head tracking. So regarding head tracking updates, CIG has made a few additional updates and fixes to head tracking to help increase usability for players. New features include adding a recalibration button that resets all head tracking devices internally except Track IR, but you can set it to the same button if desired. Added support for positional access for cockpit and most other ship seats in first person. Added rotation and position support for external cameras clamped to 1 meter in each dimension. Added separate button to enable/disable head tracking on external cameras. Added head rolling for first person and ADS. Added a smoothing slider and a forward center dead zone for faceware. Added head tracking options to toggle on or off position offsets in cockpits. Added additional head tracking limits for specific seats and beds. CIG also added support for Tobii head/eye trackers, Tobii 4C and Tobii eye tracker 5 primarily, and added options to set them up. Regarding general fixes, actor head won't snap from left to right if the head tracking angle is above 180. All mouse-induced head movements will now be suppressed when head tracking is active. Remove the internal offset when the toggle is used. Reshuffled the menu options for head tracking to make it clearer. Extended the available movement range in seats when head tracking is used. Fixed the auto recalibrate option. Smaller ship inputs QOL improvements. Move vehicle exit actions to a delayed press 250 milliseconds. Added game setting options to switch exit seat actions as hold versus immediate press when using a turret/pilot seat. Move vehicle eject to right Alt Y. Restored IFCS movement actions. Fixed a couple of problems with smart toggle treatment. Various input quality of life improvements. EVA binding and control QOLs. Added roll inversion, remove strafe inversion settings from mouse and keyboard. CIG also removed unused pitch actions in EVA action mapping code. Regarding look ahead and target tracking changes, CIG has made a few changes to how this is handled. CIG separated target tracking out to a weak version and a strong version. The weak version is now part of a normal look ahead process and does not produce a very strong movement to slightly help keep the target in view but also keep the HUD and other elements from being lost. The strong version is now called padlock, now and will follow the target as much as possible. Removed binding to enable look-ahead target tracking. Removed option to automatically enable look-ahead target tracking. Added binding to enable padlock and added option to automatically enable padlock, which is off by default. Regarding ordnance replenishing, updated pricing of Cry-Astro versus shops. CIG has now hooked up key ordnance on ships, which are missiles, haze, lures, and all Cry-Astro landing services. Functionality to run through the shop service, allowing for proper pricing differentials between items when restocking your ship. This will also require some rebalancing for our current insurance and item pricing. Overall, this is a major step towards getting a fully dynamic set of prices for the landing service functionality. Alright, we have updated Constellation series handling and durability, temporary rebalance to distortion weapons pending a more extensive update later, adjusted all ground turrets to have higher signature for faster player detection, added access inversion for EVA strafe access, IFCS relative velocity limited, and IFCS relative acceleration limiters. Added button to reset velocity limited to SCM speed. Space brake is now in access, allowing for variable analog braking. Updated types of ships that UEE security can spawn. Added new non-directional shield hit communications in the ship computers. Added SFX ducking when personal inner thoughts is open. Added Origin 100 series to ship dealerships in the PU. Regarding ships and vehicles, increased the hydrogen fuel tank size on the Nomad. Increased the hydrogen fuel tank size on the Mercury Star Runner, brought Mercury Star Runner hull strength more in line with ships in its class, and reduced verbosity of some ship computer notifications, increased gloss amount on Hammerhead hull, increased thruster and roll speed for the Drake Herald. Regarding weapons and items, balance pass on all LMG FPS weapon damage, recoil, and bullet spread. Man, I knew this was going to be a long one, but man, is it a long one. CIG fixed the following bugs in today's patch. Pitch ladder should no longer display while sitting in non-pilot seats. Fixed an issue where decoupled space brake caused the weapon velocity vector to change. Weapon SFX should now display correctly when vehicle weapons are fired. Ships landed at New Babbage and Lorville should now be able to be restored. Now be able to be stored. Fixed an issue that could cause rest stop elevators to duplicate, making them inaccessible. Night Runner Star Runner paint should now correctly change the color of the cockpit glass. Characters' hands will no longer turn their flight stick / wheel in the opposite direction to the input being provided. Fixed an issue that caused weapons to twitch and move on a player when switching to third-person camera. Whether VFX should no longer be seen on a visor when the player goes up an amphitheater stairs in the New Babbage. Fixed an issue causing the Animus missile launcher to not let players equip a fresh magazine once the currently attached one was used. Nomad self-destruct audio will no longer stop prematurely when self-destructing the ship. Fixed an issue causing windows and glass displays in Lorville to become blurry when the player is very close to them. Fixed multiple missing building geometry assets while in transit to city gates in Lorville. Fixed an issue causing the rock geometry to visually disappear when players is facing certain directions around Grimhex. Fixed several areas around the edge of medium-sized hangars in Grimhex that were missing breathable atmosphere. Fixed a section of missing railing in the New Babbage Skybridge. Ships landing at the Platinum Bay landing pad should no longer display their location as uninitialized on-vehicle waypoint. Fixed an issue causing some dead zone settings to not save properly. Increased size of text boxes on commodity kiosks to fix large number of overlapping. The Pirate Gladius variant should no longer be missing on the comms menu on all of its MFD screens. Fixed an issue that caused liquid to not appear in drinks in the PU. Players should now see the correct cost when expediting a Nomad insurance claim. Fixed an issue that was causing players to be sometimes unable to see all or some party member markers. Oh man, that's brilliant. Players should now be able to access the main screen on the Find terminals when clicking onto the Login as User button. Fixed an issue causing Arena Commander and Star Marine matches to not cycle to the next game at the end of a match. Lastly, regarding technical fixes, CIG has fixed 7 client crashes and 5 server crashes. Alright, lastly we have known issues. The known issues are as follows. When logging to terminals at TDD, they can display incorrect commodity information and prevent sales. The CIG recommended workaround to this is to try other trade terminals at different locations. You can also test relogging and trying again. The Aspheria Talon will have power issues with normal use in gravity. I personally believe this is caused by the power plant change. A workaround to this is to not go full throttle immediately after takeoff to give the power plant time to build up. Ship canopy may open and close without user input. Player can spawn falling through the planet upon login. Visiting locations from fresh boot will cause players to spawn on the surface of Hurston. ASOP spawned assets load slowly when first connecting to a server. It's possible to have a player timeout trying to log in. Some clients are not receiving full member lists in global channel. That I have run into quite a bit. Player eyes are extra reflective in video. Select crew series station external elevators are missing, specifically crew L1 and crew L5. The shopkeepers of both live fire weapons and Garrity defense are stood away from their desks. Being arrested with both utility slots occupied causes a player to respawn in prison with a broken multi-tool. Alright guys, for those of you who made it to the end, I'm impressed and thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, to those of you who wish to grow on YouTube, I'm affiliated with TubeBuddy, so if you follow the link below and install TubeBuddy, you can help me out and help yourself out for free. Catch you guys in the next one.